This is week 10, and we're building a menu-driven app that performs the CRUD operation. So since we added the list projects as one of the selections, we had to create a list project method. In order for this method to work, we had to create another method called fetch all projects. The following step had us working in project service.java file. This is where we continued with the fetch all projects method. Next, we continued on to project.dao.java. Here we have the fetch all projects. We have a written SQL statement to return all projects that don't include the materials, the steps, and the categories. We added a try with resource statement to obtain the connection object, the SQL exception in a catch block, and we rethrow the new DB exception, passing in the SQL object. Inside the try block, we started a new transaction. We added a inner try with resource statement to obtain the prepared statement from the connection object. In a catch block, we catch an exception object, and we also roll back the transaction and throw a new DB exception, passing in the exception object as the cause. Inside the currently innermost try with resource statement, we added a try with resource statement to obtain a result set from the prepared statement, and we included the import statement for result set. Inside the innermost try with resource, we created and returned a list of projects. We ended up looping through the result set, and we created and assigned each result row to a new project object. We added the project object to the list of projects. Now we can actually test the app and see if it returns the list of projects. So we're going to run as a Java application. We're going to hit 2 to list projects. And here we go, we have projects. So the next part of this project was to be able to select a project. So we created a select a project method. In this project, we're going to call list projects to print a list of projects. We're going to collect a project ID from the user and assign it to an integer variable called project ID. And then we're going to prompt the user to enter an ID. And then we're going to call a new method, fetch project by ID, on the project service object. We also created a print operations method to show the user which project they are currently working on. Next, we went to project service.java. That's when we created the method fetch project by ID. In the project DAO file, we also continued with the fetch project by ID method. We wrote an SQL statement to return all the columns from the project table in the row that matches the given project ID. We obtained a connection object in a try with resource statement, added the catch block to handle the SQL exception. In the catch block, we threw a new DB exception, passing the SQL exception object as a parameter. We started transaction inside the try with resource statement. The inner catch block handles an exception. Inside the catch block, we roll back the transaction and throw a new DB exception that takes the exception object as a parameter. Inside the inner try block, we obtained a prepared statement from the connection obtained in a try resource statement. We passed the SQL statement in the method called the prepared statement. We added the project ID method parameter as a parameter to the prepared statement. Next, we created 3 methods. One was for category, the other one was for step, and the other one was for material. Each method is written the same way. This is how we're going to get each material and step and a category. Finally, we're going to run this project. This time, we're going to ask it to select the project. And we're going to select, I don't know, hang a door. And this is where it's going to list everything. We should also test it to show that what happens when it doesn't work. So we put like 99. It says is not a valid selection. Please try again.